Welcome to the Keystone Heights Heritage Commission meeting, October 4th. Roll call, Christine.
Here.
Deidre.
Here.
Nina. And Helen is not here, and Carrie is not here. All right, let's do our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so Christina has created our minutes for us, and I don't see any outstanding fixes from the last time. Christina, did we have any that we forgot to do anything?
No.
Looks pretty clear. Okay. So, do I have a motion to approve our September minutes?
Move to approve the September minutes. I second.
I'll say aye. Aye. All right. Okay, moving on. Our historic home workshop. Well, first of all, personally, I think it was a huge success. I was really impressed with the presence of all the homeowners, their interest in the program, and especially with Vichy and her sharing all the information she shared. I think it really stirred additional interest. I think they were kind of excited to hear about what we have planned, and I want to encourage them to let us know things that they'd like us to do, you know. So the deal with the greet and meet was certainly well received. Several people said to me they thought that would really be a fun thing to do, and they liked the idea that we would invite professional vendors there who provide local services, so they can connect. Whether it's just to say, hey, I'm so and so, let me have your card. Just so they have someone, because I know there's a lot of folks who just don't know who to trust. To have come in their home and stuff. So that word of mouth to me is so special with our unique homeowners. And the other thing is sharing the differences within our own architectures, because we have certain unique needs, and somebody may have found a part or a piece within woodwork or whatever within the home, and we can share that with them on where to find it, or help them find it. So I think that it's going to grow. I think we saw a good start, So basically, we had 11 homeowners attended. It's about 22 or 23 individuals. Mayor Lake and our city manager, Len Rakowski, and 3 council members attended. We had about 35 people total. I attended the council meeting last night, and they were overwhelmed with their appreciation for the event. Thought it was very well done. They thought the food, the company, all of that was good. The material presented was really excellent, and just very, very supportive. So I was, happy to hear their input, from the event. We gave away the fall arrangements to homeowners and our support teams, which also were well received. They all liked them. I worked out the budget, and basically for Clyde's, I was so shocked, $293.50 for that spread. Really just amazing, I'm like, wow, that's pretty good because I think I told her to plan on 35 to 40 people or something like that. And the money that I spent out of pocket for making the arrangements and the miscellaneous plates and stuff we used to make it a little prettier was about $144.65. So less than $500 for the event. That's pretty good, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, and of course that money came out of last year's budget that ended the end of September. So yeah, I was very pleased with everything, how that went. So as far as a post-mortem goes, and you guys were both there, it's too bad our volunteers can't be here today to get some input from them. Can you all think of things that we need to maybe consider for next time around, next year?
Just want to back up one step. the $438 came out of last year's budget. Do you know what the remaining was left in the budget?
Probably about around 400. We had 1,000 left, so about 500 maybe. But she's buying our name tags and our shirts also.
Out of that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get, yeah, so that'll be
Okay.
out of that. I'll
Okay,
get
so
her to update
we've
us on-
almost used up that whole budget.
It's pretty
from last
close,
year.
yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Way
I'm
closer than
just glad to
before,
see
right?
We did that.
Definitely way closer than before.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that we've done
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay. I've been, of course, walking around town to talk about the Christmas wreaths and talking to all the businesses, and the word is already out about our event that we had at the pavilion, and everyone was saying how great it was, that they had just popped in for a minute, and even just the business owners liked it.
Yeah,
It drew people out.
yeah.
That's the idea.
And I think maybe next year we expand that invite list.
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of put a tap into the top layer. I call it low-hanging fruit
Yeah,
from the sales mentality.
exactly.
And tap into that. We had 10% response because we had 34 invites, not
That's
including city.
excellent, actually.
Yes, I thought that was pretty good. And so I felt like it was, that part of it was great. And then I think we next layer is we get to the folks that have the ones who couldn't come, of course, because of whatever. We had a couple that had called me, were going to come and couldn't be there. And they want to come definitely to the next one. At least 3 homeowners told me that. So I want to make sure they get on the list. And then I think maybe the business owners, having them come and invite them at least, because it'd be kind of nice to have their input as well. And of course, the folks who have the homes that are 50 years and older, because we have several that are also plaqued within that group.
And a lot of the people who own the homes in Keystone Heights, it's really encouraging for them to see that the city's behind them.
Mm-hmm.
That we have a program in place called the Heritage Commission that's here to support them
Yep.
in what they want to do to improve their home,
Yes.
to make their home stand out. And that's the word that needs to be out there, that, hey, we have something in place.
Mhm.
Just give us a call, we'll help you.
Right. And, and that really kind of, to me, when I mentioned to them last night, their presence at the event really was huge because they all most of them were able to stay there and watch the whole thing. They always have all these other things going on. But just the homeowners seeing them there and actually meeting some of them for the first time, which I think is great. Steve stood up and did some really great sharing of what he knew. And he has something else he's just brought me today, which I'll share with you all in a bit. But, but I think it's a good idea.
And I think it was very good that the city council actually goes to these events.
Mhm.
I guess it's part of their job, but, it really helps them to see, what we're doing firsthand, not just in a report in a room where we're saying, hey, here's what we did. When they actually physically go to the event and they see how classy it is, how well it's put on, how well it's received by the community,
Yeah,
then they can really get behind it, which they clearly did.
yeah,
That was evidence last night that,
Oh, yeah.
you're saying, that
yeah.
because they went, they saw it.
Mhm.
They saw all the effort that was put in by this commission.
Yeah, they said it was a real treat. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were, I think, a little surprised. I mean, that's kind
I
of the
know they
sense.
were
I kind of got that sense, Christina, that they were a little surprised at how it was very high-end, felt like a high-end experience.
Yeah.
And that really was the details. It's always the devil is in the details, right?
It's nice to showcase the pavilion also,
Yes.
and what a wonderful job they've done with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful, I know.
And everyone did say a lot about the pavilion, because most people, we're all there all the time.
Yeah,
But the rest of the community is not in the pavilion unless they've rented it,
yep,
and they see it outside, but they don't get inside. They
Right.
don't see everything where the money was spent,
yeah.
in the refrigeration, in the bathrooms, in the access.
Mhm.
I mean, they did such a fabulous job,
Yeah.
and,
And it's
To
really cute.
highlight
It's
it.
really cute all fixed up. I mean, we
It
did,
is.
Yeah,
what
it's
we
great.
did was like super simple, but look how cute it turned out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, like what you said, having those folks in that building who have probably never been in the building yet, just looking through the windows maybe, got to feel it. And
Yeah.
now they can say, hey, I know a great place you can have a wedding, or you have a birthday party,
Right.
like they're getting ready to have a
Spreads the
50th
word.
birthday party there, somebody is. So it's kind of good for the city because now they want it to be used.
Mhm.
So I think it's just, overall, it's gonna be a good thing for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I've added that to include the business owners the next time, and I think it's a great idea. We always want them to be supportive and behind us. So, moving on, social media. Natalie could not attend our event, and she had a prior commitment, so she did come to my house and did the interview. And then I sent her a bunch of pictures. I didn't know how many she was gonna put in or whatever. And I did tell her everybody's names. I was hoping she's gonna put people's names under the picture, but I guess she didn't have the room or whatever. But I think it turned out very nice. The article, very well written. And it was correct for what we did, I thought. I think she did a good job capturing everything. So as my efforts continue to get us out and have that social presence, last night the guy from the Lake Area Monitor was here. And he had seen the article, and I knew I had met him before, but then I had forgotten about him. Dan, yeah, Dan.
Dan Hildebrand.
Dan, yeah, and you know what, I bet you I have his info, and because I forget to let them know, because they want to know when we're doing stuff so they can be there. So, he was Lake Area Monitor, okay. And I will make sure the future to let him know, and I told him I would. But, and she knows too that we're gonna be doing the wreaths, and she wants to be there and photograph us doing them, and use that as another opportunity to put us out there in the newspaper. So it's all good, I think. And people do read the paper.
Yes, they do.
They absolutely do. So I was really thankful that she was able to get that. And she texted me this week and said, okay, it came out this week, you know. So I thought that was fun. So our shirts, Christina, they've been ordered. Is that okay? Great. Do you know when they'll be in?
I don't have a timeline yet.
No yet? Okay. I'd love to think they'd be in when we go to place the wreaths on the doors. Like whenever, end of November, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, okay. And you said you were looking into the name tags, right?
Already ordered.
Huh?
Already ordered.
Oh, great, thank you. Thank you so much.
They're a brass metal
Okay,
oval.
Yeah.
And, with Heritage Commission on it.
great,
And with a magnet back.
great, perfect.
Oh, good.
Excellent, yeah, because
No holes in our.
no holes in our clothes. Or like we're drags and, you know. Yeah, I really, thank you so much for doing that. So how much?
If you guys can also use your name tags if you guys are going out to other events.
Yeah,
And not ruin your nice silk blouses as well.
Yeah.
right, it's a good idea. So how much did the shirts and the tags wind up costing approximately?
That I don't know.
Don't know yet?
I don't remember the price.
Okay, okay, well, that's fair enough. I was just kind of curious. I knew we had the money there, but I'm trying to keep track of things that we spend money on, you know. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, moving right along, new business. So on the, after our meeting, and Deidre had reached out to me and said that her and Helen would take on meeting the business owners to get their input on the wreaths. Would they like one? And, you know, just to kind of get a feel from them, because we don't want to just go make it and somebody doesn't want it, you know. So I put together a spreadsheet and some materials for talking points for them to use. Yeah, I know, I see. And you all, so if you have an update on kind of where that, what the folks that y'all have met so far, about how many.
Well, I went through, Helen and I decided to basically split the town in half. One, I would walk on one side of the road and she would go on the other side, with a couple of exceptions, because I did Florida Homes on the other side.
Mhm.
But of those, I went through half of them. And to tell you the truth, even though the players or the names of the businesses have changed, and there's been several.
Yeah, and I knew there would have been.
I'm
yeah.
getting their contact information, their phone numbers, their addresses, and their emails when I can. Almost everyone, it's a positive thing across the board, and there's a few I have to go back and just check with the owner. But the manager said fine, you know, that kind of thing. But in overall, I numbered how many we had, and if you want to count giving City Hall 2 wreaths for both the front door, and then possibly the library, and maybe putting some on the pavilion. And then a cut above was not, the only one that was not on this list as far as an address.
Yeah, and they weren't listed anywhere.
Because
It's kind
they
of weird.
didn't have, there wasn't one, a business there.
Yeah, right, okay.
Or the other businesses were, they're labeled here, but they've changed hands.
Okay, yeah,
So I'm getting the new owners' names.
Perfect.
And everything. So
perfect.
in all, 40 wreaths is the number I came up with that we should probably be setting
Okay,
as our goal to make,
okay.
which is a lot of wreaths.
Yeah. Get a group together, then at least it'll go.
It does go faster on an assembly line.
Yeah,
However, it's still a lot of work.
yeah, it's a lot of work.
And
Okay.
your latest
Mhm.
version of the wreath is awesome. This stuff is just too chosky for me.
It's, there's a lot of detail. That's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
And a lot of
This
pieces
is
and parts.
simple, but
This is like
simple
3
is
parts.
classy.
3 or 4 parts maybe.
Yes. I love
Thank you,
it.
sweetie. So
Love.
I was, again,
So
searching.
one on the right.
searching and searching last night, or been since our meeting, and trying to figure out, okay, so what is this gonna look like costing? And I didn't put this on that PowerPoint, but I'll just at least share it with you because it's not fine-tuned
Well, I can
yet.
tell you right now that those wreaths would be over $300.
Yeah, yeah,
Easy.
they would be quite expensive.
Um,
So I did price out, so I found potential. So if we do grapevine, it's gonna have to be not quite the real thick
Thick,
chunky, because
sure.
the chunky is
Well,
super.
we're gonna make smaller
they're-
ones.
Yeah,
too.
so believe it or not, though, I found 24-inch wreaths.
Yeah.
This thing says it's 22.
No, that, they can't be
There's
because that
That
one
girl
woman.
carrying it, well, I've bought one. I've actually bought one for myself personally online.
But that
that's
girl
already
that was
finished.
holding it,
Yeah, I know, it looks
looked like
huge.
it was
50
this
inches or 60
big.
inches.
Maybe she was tiny.
She might have been like, yeah, like real tiny.
Makes a big difference.
6 years old.
Well, that's why I ordered one, because they're saying it's a 22-inch on the description.
Yeah.
And so I went to a website and decided, you know what, I'm just gonna buy one and put it on the front door of the house. And I think it's like $50 is what I'm paying for it. So it's really good to do that because it gives us that perfect example to copy it. And so,
We can buy them for $50?
well, that
I
one,
don't think we can
for the
make them for
discount.
50.
Oh, yeah, no, we can.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty much.
Let me see
Think
what
we-
your number.
Yeah, so here's what my numbers. You know, I'm the queen of discount here. So I looked at, if we made 30, this was just 2 or
Right.
3 nights ago. I looked at, and I meant to bring my iPad because I could have shown you more pictures. But it would not be the real chunky like that, but it would be kind of fat, healthy looking grapevine. So when you go buy them in bulk, like I can get them in boxes of 20.
Okay.
Let's see, the one that comes the 24-inch is boxes of 10, and they average out $5 or $6 per wreath for the cost.
Oh,
This
wow.
is through Michael's, believe it or not, online. You can't buy these in the store.
Okay.
And so I could even go a little smaller, like to a 20-inch, for example, and I want to say it was like $4 or something for the wreath
I
itself.
think
and
we
they
need to have
box-
something a little bigger.
So I'm shooting for bigger. So if we did that, and actually my price on this one, because I had found one that was $8, so we're going to be able to slash that in half. So the garland, which is, so really it's more about the stuff that's on it. And
Yeah.
because you do see the chunkiness stuff, but it really is about the pine cones, the greenery, the bells, right?
And you can see that it's layered here.
Yes, yes,
Like, this is a different kind of greenery
yes,
than this.
right. So that's pine
Right.
and spruce is what's layered
Okay.
there. So, and it's got berries in it. So believe it or not, and I wish I had my iPad, because I took photographs of all my resources. On Amazon, I found a 6-foot garland that has the pine, the spruce, the berries, and the pine cones all on the garland. So similar, but it is, and again, we
We
can,
can cut it up.
we're gonna cut it up in 1-foot pieces. Because if it's a 24-inch, say if it's 2 feet, and we got 1 foot at the top, and it's got the berries and all already in it, we could still do a cluster of pine cones, which Christina says she has piles of pine cones. We could still do that if we decide to add more to it. And those berry things, I can get those at Dollar Store all day long for nothing. if we decided to, add on, right? So I found the
What
garland.
about the cowbells?
Okay, that's a good question. So first of all, the garland is really the most expensive part of buying this. It's crazy. That greenery stuff is so expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And so I found a piece of garland that has all of that in it from Amazon, believe it or not. So it was like $60 to do 6 wreaths.
Wow.
So basically, yes, no kidding. So, because the garland is so expensive. And so that's to do a 1-foot swath, okay? So I will continue to look and see if I can find a little cheaper, but at the end of the day, I found garland, I found the wreaths, the bell. I found these, there are 20 in an order from Etsy, and they look almost just like that. And we could do 3 per cluster.
Right.
And for 20 of them, it's $23 for 20 of them, of the bells.
Oh, wow.
And they're a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches in
Yeah.
height or whatever. So I'll do the rough math and figure out how many I need to get, but they're all homemade and they're all vintage looking just like that.
Oh, cool.
And then the wreath hangers, to buy 10 of them, and these are the long ones, pretty long, because I didn't know with the doors and the various sizes issues, was $28 to buy those, to buy 10 hangers.
Okay.
Okay, so to do 30 wreaths with those 4 items, I came out to $23.18 each.
Wow.
And that's if we spend
So-
$8 on the wreath. So if I spend less money on the wreath and got to spend more money on the garland, I'm trying to keep it under $25 average
Right.
for the,
That's still really good.
That's
I mean,
still-
you could not go out
Trying
and
to
buy
keep
a
our-
wreath for $25
No.
that looked
No.
like that.
that looks anything like that.
Right.
And for our big dollar budget, I'm trying to keep it under $1,500 is the goal. So I think it comes out to, even doing what I just mentioned, is right at $700.
Wow.
So again, if I even go up to 1,000,
Well,
I
and
think
if
we're
you
still
keep
okay.
this in mind, that they will not be just for 1 year.
Yeah,
We will reuse them.
right.
So the following year, while we might have to spruce up a few things,
Yeah, the berries don't keep well.
no, they don't.
The bear, yeah.
But it's like, even though this is coming out of, this year's budget, it
Mhm.
would be, you could spread it out if you just mentally, that they could potentially last 3 years.
Yeah, right.
If not more.
And
Because
you always have the base.
you always have the base.
You always have the base,
Right.
yeah, that's true. And usually it would be the berries that would go quickest probably, but they will
Right.
get into that other stuff. So what I'm gonna do, so first things are, so you all want that wreath.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so do I make a motion that this is the design goal that we go toward, is that particular wreath?
I'll
Yes.
Yes, voting? Aye,
Favor?
yes,
Aye.
we're all in favor. So that's the wreath they're gonna go to there, Miss Christina.
Okay.
Okay, so, great. And my mind got to thinking about my famous timeline sharing here. So I think we've already done the confirming the business owners, essentially. And the next thing will be ordering the materials. So I will get on that. And the way I'm going to do this, Christina, is I've already started really looking online, because it is the cheapest way to buy them, to buy the materials, is ordering, and I'll pay for it up front, and then I'll just do the expense report like I did the other stuff recently. Is that satisfactory?
I would have to.
Okay. Because I want to order pretty much all this stuff by the middle of October. Because I got to allow it to get in so we can assimilate it and all that stuff. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. But I am trying to keep it as reasonable as possible.
So we need to check with the city manager.
Yeah, and so I just send Lynn an email on that today? Because I need to know pretty quick. Okay, so I'm going to see. And I'll copy you on it too, okay?
Yeah, I mean, having the option of online and getting things in is really so much more efficient and inexpensive.
Well, the stores don't sell volume.
Right.
I mean, you can't go in and buy 40 wreaths at Hobby Lobby. They're just, I mean, you can maybe buy 10 or something, but
Well,
you may have to go to 10
when we
stores or
did-
something.
No, we went to St. Augustine one, because they didn't even have the one in Gainesville at the
Oh,
time.
yeah,
So we went to St. Augustine and they had to order them for us.
yes,
It was an order, it wasn't like we could just pick them up.
Yeah,
But we did get a discount for the city, if I remember,
yeah,
because it was a municipality.
yeah.
And I don't know if that would apply to an online order.
Yeah. I don't
Would
know.
it,
I don't know.
Christine? Okay, so
So
when
she
Nina
might have-
orders, if she,
might have you come, you and I
Here and
can
order-
sit and order them, because then I can put in the tax exempt for the city, and we don't have to pay taxes.
So, but when you do a typical online order, is there a space on there, like at a Michael's or something, to put that information? I mean, most of the places I looked at, I didn't see any place to do something like that, like it was an option.
We usually call.
Huh?
There's usually a number you have to call.
Oh, okay.
okay, so we have a tax exempt. I remember like bringing that, like at the time, you know, we didn't have really online. It's hard to imagine just even 10 years ago.
Yeah, because I'm just envisioning
I
like,
know. And so we had to bring like a card from the city or something with this code. I just remember doing that.
yeah.
So,
Because because one of the resources is Etsy, and that's like a small business owner, so I don't know. I guess I can text him and ask him, does he do that? And what if he doesn't? You know, I mean, I went to them because they were cheap. Does it have to be tax exempt company to order it through that method? Or do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, what I can do is I can find out, and then I'll send Lynn the email, because I want to know this pretty quick, so I can make it happen. Okay. So in looking at, so let's say I order everything by the 15th. Materials would be here by no later than the 15th of November, goal-wise.
yeah.
So the next thing is reserving the pavilion so we can make them.
Okay, so we're gonna make them in the pavilion, and that will be on the 20th
Well,
of November,
so Lynn's
Okay.
telling me that
Sunday.
so we'll talk about that here in a second. Lynn told me that the city will have their decorations out right before Thanksgiving. Okay? I was trying to align it with the city. So we can either do it,
I think we need to do it on the 18th or before.
We've got a meeting on the 15th.
yeah, we have our meeting on the 15th. So to me, I'm totally fine anytime. I didn't know if it'd be a weekday or a weekend that would work better, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to, well, so to make them, right, to make them. So hanging them's a different situation. Because we're gonna make them, and it's gonna take a day to make them. I'm gonna say it's gonna take us a day to make them.
Can we, and this is a Christine question, can we do the wreath workshop in lieu of a meeting? Are we allowed to do that?
Hi, Carrie.
Hey, I'm sorry. I hope it's better
I'm
when
not
you
sure.
remember.
That's fine. We're just talking about the wreaths. And we're just asking Christina a question. So hang tight here, and can you hear us talking?
Yep, I'm putting it on mute so you don't hear any of my background noise. But,
Okay.
I'll be for the quorum.
Well,
Hi, Carrie.
so we found out that you cannot vote when you are not physically here. But there's 3 of us here, so we're okay. We only need a quorum. I didn't know that till this morning.
Okay, well, great. Well, I'll just hang out and listen.
Perfect. We're talking about your subject, your favorite subject, the wreaths. And if you're looking at the handout, we did vote on the one on the lower right corner. That looks kind of rustic.
Okay, great.
That's the one we're going to make. And now we're just talking, we talked a little bit about the cost. I think it's going to cost, my goal is to keep them under $25 each to make. And we're going to make probably 40 wreaths.
That doesn't count the hanger.
Yeah, it does include the hanger.
It does include the hanger. Okay.
Yep. I got to rework the number based on 40. But yes. So it's somewhere between, that number is around $700 to make 30 of them, if my numbers are correct.
But we're gonna need 40.
But we're going to need 40, so I got to
It's
rework the
1,000.
numbers. And, the goal is to keep it somewhere around $1,000 to make all of them. or less.
Okay,
Okay?
sounds good.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
sure.
Hang out with-
Okay, and all we're doing here is talking about the timeline. Okay, so back to the dates. So the materials will get in, and then we have our meeting on the 15th. I don't know, you were asking Christina, could we do that in lieu of our meeting, like the day of our meeting, make them,
Right.
and do it at the pavilion? Could we do that, Christina, do you know?
I don't know. I know you wouldn't be able to be voting on anything, so you wouldn't be able to approve your minutes and stuff
Oh.
like that. Because
Okay.
for that to take place, it has to be in a public forum
Okay,
where everybody can, it has to be open to the public. So unless you're opening it up to the public for them to help you make wreaths, then
well, I mean, we're
you
gonna,
would be able to do both.
Would we be able to come here, have our meeting, vote on the minutes, all in favor, yes, and then we leave and go make our wreaths? Would that be
That might be a
acceptable?
possibility.
because we could do that in like 15 minutes,
Exactly,
right? And then we spend the day over there.
right.
Okay, so could we get the pavilion on the 15th for the day?
I would have to check.
Okay, so, let's see
Because then
here,
we kill two birds with one stone,
Yeah.
and we, you know.
November 15th.
I can check. I'm on Sheldon, I've got a lot of family coming in for Thanksgiving, I'm running back and forth to the airports.
Oh,
Oh,
fun though.
that's crazy, isn't it?
That's 15, that's a Tuesday, the pavilion will probably not be busy.
Yeah. The biggest thing is, can other folks come and help us? Because we're gonna need some hands. And of course, be Mary Lou, Kathy, and Deb. And then I think we have some
How
other
many more
folks.
people do we need?
We may, I don't know, because the 40's a lot. So we certainly do have some hands, just with some new friends that we recently met the other night.
I can ask the garden club.
Yeah, but we can ask some of those gals that think the other night. A lot of them voiced interest,
Sure,
Right.
yeah, you have,
that we had all those gals that came the other night. So a lot of them are interested in doing that kind of
I'd
stuff.
probably bring my sister, she's got
You're-
experience making wreaths too.
Yeah,
oh.
I'm thinking that we divide them up, either we do an
The
assembly
pavilion
line.
is open from 9 to 5.
Huh?
It's open from 9 to 5 on the day.
Oh, it is?
On the
Okay.
15th?
On the 15th? Okay,
Yay.
Yay.
That works out.
okay, so good. Perfect, Christina, thank you, babe.
One less meeting.
One less meeting, yeah. Well, we just gotta vote on the minutes and then we just get on over
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, and, pavilion open.
So to make wreaths.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's great. That gives, make sure I got everything in. I expect to have everything in, no issues. And I will probably, once the materials come in, go ahead and make one, so I know what we're in for. And then I'll figure out the best way for us to get it done. And I will also plan for lunch to be brought in for us. Let's see, follow up, lunch and drinks. And honestly, I might just have Clyde's catered again. I'll just ask her to give me a price.
They're such a great.
They're just, she's just so cheap. I mean, we can't even go into McDonald's and buy what she did. There's no way. So I might, we have the money, we can do it. Okay. And then I will look at volunteers. So now we have a date, and I will send an email out with all of us on it to the people that I think would want to come. Many of them I do have their texts, but I will get all their emails. I mean, we had 12 gals the other
We're
night.
all on the tax.
We are, but I need their emails.
Right.
So I
Right.
want to make sure they know, because a lot of them did express interest to make stuff. And met a girl the other night who, her husband used to own all the Ace Hardwares here, and Diana Rothwell, something like that. And she's working with a beauty pageant for Clay County. She asked me if the contestants could help us do that.
Oh, they would love that.
Yeah, she said, would that be something you all could use some help with? She said, I'd like to get them involved in something like that. So I think that's kind of cool.
What age?
Well, I'm gonna guess they're older. I don't think they're younger.
Because
Yeah. I
they
mean,
have,
They can't be
no,
sales.
no,
I have 2 kids.
I don't think that would happen. Let's see here. I'll come up with a big email on that, and I want to let them know as soon as possible, so, because people are so busy with everything going on right now. But I think that sounds like a good plan.
It was such a fun event at Minus
I know.
Three, you weren't
Well, I had,
She had, something came up.
there. But, you know, I have to say, off record, that
Can you hear Carrie?
Mary Lou, Mary Lou needs to understand what happens on the porch swing stays on the porch swing.
okay, is that Mary Lou Hildreth?
No.
Okay, because
Hold.
nothing
Mary Lou.
stays on the porch with Mary Lou.
No, Mary Lou from our group.
Okay.
That's another story off a microphone, right? Okay, so we will, so then we have them made on the 15th. We want to hang them. So the next date we look at is the holiday. So they're planning to light up the city pretty much right before Thanksgiving. Do we want to do it before, like with the city?
Before.
Or do we want to do it after?
I think before, because if we have all the wreaths there and then they put up the lights and they do everything, it's all done and everything
Yeah.
is like nice all at once.
Right.
You know,
They're doing it like right before that Thursday, right? They're gonna be doing it that Monday to Wednesday or something like that?
Yeah, that whole week.
So that's 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I mean, I know I'm gonna be here, so I'm not too worried about what date we pick. We just have to figure out what date that everyone could kind of get together and do that.
that doesn't take very long.
Well, maybe here's what we do. We get them made, we're all together in the room, say, hey, guys, we're gonna hang them next week, because it will be the next week. What day works for everybody? And let's divide and conquer,
Okay.
right? Why don't we do it like that?
Let's see.
Thanksgiving.
Tthanksgiving's the
next
24th.
Is the 24th.
4th.
Oh. okay.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Some people are gonna be out of town,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Uh,
have to do it way before that.
And
So-
I'm gonna have a huge gathering here.
yeah.
So maybe the
So-
18th, Friday, and we all do it at once.
I gotta, like I said, check and see what I'm obligated for with.
I say, let's make the wreaths on the 15th.
Okay?
And everyone who's there helping us, say, hey, okay, we're going to hang these next week.
Next week.
Mon-
when we
which
do it
would be,
that week?
well, so the 15th, okay, I know you're talking about to the 18th. I mean, I don't know if, for me, I'm fine because I'm home the whole month. But I don't know what other folks, I mean, I agree that maybe it might be good to do it before the city does their
Yeah.
part. But why don't we just pitch it to the group that's there? Anyone who wants us to hang, let's get a raise of hands.
Yeah, I don't
And the-
want to try to add that on
To
to
the
my week
Thanksgiving
of the
week?
Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
yes.
that's-
I
Okay, so
can't.
let's shoot for,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say we're gonna shoot for the,
well, it creates end of month for real estate.
and that plus it gets them up off of the ground and hung instead of sitting around.
Yes,
So shoot for something like the 16th, 17th, or 18th, right? Okay, sounds good. That's Wednesday, Thursday,
16,
Friday.
17. Okay.
So Christine, I have another question for you. Once we make these 40 wreaths, and they will be pretty large, where can they sit until we hang them? Can they just hang out in the pavilion until we're ready to hang them up? Where can they?
Because I know I have events booked on the weekends.
Okay, well, we're going to plan to have them hung up before the weekend. That's what we're just talking about. We do them before Saturday.
No, because I know I have even stuff during the week.
There.
Okay,
So
we're
we're,
free on the 15th, but after that, not really.
Right.
Can we put them in here?
I mean, we're going to have to find somewhere for them to hold until,
That might be an option to put them back here.
Mhm.
I don't think we'll be having any council meetings. Well, I know the council meeting, we would have one. The only thing that we might have would be maybe a board meeting for planning and zoning or something.
yeah,
So we
But-
can maybe put them behind your desk, right there?
That's a lot of wreaths.
that's a lot of wreaths. They're going to be really big. So here's what I'm going to propose. Because it's only a couple of days, I can either put them in my she shed or somewhere in my house, on my front porch, whatever, until we hang them. But after we take them down in December, we need to look at where can they be stored till next year.
Okay.
That's a big need, okay? I mean,
Check with that.
I can load them all up on my front porch, and we just load the golf cart or the truck or whatever and bring them in, the day. I mean, right after we finish them. Dave can come and pick them up in the truck, load them on my front porch, it's only in a couple of days, because I'm decorating for Christmas the following week, so. But I think it's a bigger need to find where they go afterwards, right? I mean, I'm okay with that. Right, yeah. Okay, we have a
My
plan.
daughter knows no boundaries. She had one, my grandson got stung by a wasp, and I had to sit with the other ones while she took him to the emergency.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that. Those things happen, but we really missed you. We wanted you there so bad. Well, okay, so moving right along, that was a lot that we got done there. Excellent. I think we got a plan. Let's see here. We're good to go on the wreath, right, girls?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a plan. That's great. I'll do an updated plan here and get it out to everybody pretty quick with an email and some details. And then I will also get some emails from the gals that I think would be interested in doing it and get their input on the date, and then we'll know who's going to show. And plug and play. We'll come here and do our meeting real quick and head over there and rock and roll. And I'll also reach out to Clyde's to cater for lunch for us. That way I kind of need to know how many people so I can plan the lunch. Okay, great.
Now, in the past, and again, I'm sorry if I keep referring back, but it's because we did this once before that I'm kind of, the wheels are turning as far as what we need. We need supplies. So we need hot guns. We
Okay,
need glue guns. There's gotta be a way, or like the ribbon to tie these things onto the branches. You need wire cutters, you need wire, you need
Yeah.
you need a lot of supplies. So I would suggest when we're talking or emailing anyone that they bring their wire cutters, and then we need to go out and purchase wire. We have to have it cut in the right dimension for each wreath, and what wire goes with what. And in the assembly line process, if I remember, it was like, what we did was we put one of the wreaths that's completed up on, so everybody has a view. But then everything it takes to make the wreath kind of like there in the assembly
Right.
line. So people aren't running around trying, I need your wire cutter, or I need this hot glue
Right.
gun, I need ribbon, or where do I get a piece of twine? Everything needs to be there. And so there's more kind of to it.
right.
You know what I
They
mean?
made pre-cut floral wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, and I have tons of this stuff, believe it or not. But that's the whole goal of me making one first,
See
and I
what
will
it
make a
takes.
list of what it's gonna take.
Right.
Most likely, the garland, if I buy it in 6-foot length, I'm gonna cut the 1-foot lengths before I bring it. And they'll be all stacked up, already measured, one per wreath.
Right.
And I'll do it so that, like you said, there can be a picture and there'll be something above that says, per wreath, it has this, this, and this.
Right.
And this is what you grab and go, and that's, we'll just have to figure out what's the most organized way to make it, so
Well,
it's not
if you
chaotic.
go ahead and do one yourself,
Yeah, I'll know.
that tells you what you need.
Yes.
And just write your notes down
Right.
of what worked, what didn't work,
Right.
and then you can present it to
Yeah.
the group
Yeah.
with, this is the best way to do it, because
Yeah.
Dinah can say, I just did one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the plan, and then I've already bought one, so I will be able to look at it and inspect it on how they put it together. But the cool thing is, because of the simplicity of this thing, really, it's gonna take the
Five
wire
pieces.
to wrap that thing around, this stuff here around the wreath itself. And then, like I said, the picture that I have of the garland already has the pine cones and the berries in the garland already.
Right.
So they're cover the whole thing, and
Right.
versus just a cluster of them.
And then we're just putting on the bells.
And the bells are
that's
just
it.
gonna hang, and we can rope those around the wreath, and they hang down in the middle.
Right.
And I've got the twine already, I got rolls of twine that looks like rope. So we just have to figure out, like I said, when I do it, that's why I'm thinking it's a pretty simple setup. Be pretty easy to do, I think, for the most part. But won't know it till I play with it, So, okay, I think I got a good idea there. Perfect. Next, we talked about this, and I know we can revisit this as time moves on, but you've already started gathering so much great information about the businesses, detail and stuff for reaching out to them for things going on. But already we've started a nice effort in collecting homeowners' information when we had the event, because they signed in their nice little paperwork at the door, and then I have since then taken that information, transferred it into my spreadsheet to update it and keep it correct. So we have a good start on developing our so-called database. And I think maybe once the holidays are over, we start investigating, like you said, the database that we could purchase, like what some of the realtors use, to capture that and keep it updated. But what I'm going to be doing is looking for someone to kind of own that, and
For
then we can
right
all
now, what
put
I
into it.
started doing last night was I can take my database that I use for real estate
Mhm.
and give this a whole different category
Okay.
and enter them in there
Uh-huh.
as a category of Heritage Commission.
Okay.
And then a subcategory of these are businesses versus non-members versus, you
Yeah.
know, associates
Okay.
versus homeowners,
Mhm.
and then all of that. So I'm just putting in as businesses, and then I can put in their emails and all of that.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to do Excel
Okay.
with the little boxes and all that. Oh, heck no. So, no.
So funny.
So I can do a database though.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just stick them in there, and then I can print them out,
Okay.
and it will just print out like a regular like label.
Oh, really nice. So, so then I do have it all on a spreadsheet form, because I can manipulate that spreadsheet in so many ways and filter out data and information to what I want to focus on, and all those
Right.
kinds of things. So I did take because I had already put so much work into the spreadsheets with all of the
Well, you know, once I
homeowners.
print this out, you could enter it into your spreadsheet and
Okay.
have it.
Yeah, I just want to figure out something that we can create eventually, and maybe by Q1 next year, a directory for the homeowners to have and share with each other, to reach out to each other, to, you know, hey, who do you use to do X? Or can I come over and look at your house and see what, you know? We want them to become friends. We want them to kind of, you know, get to know each other, you know, the social side of it. And I think it's a nice way to start that, using that as a resource, you know, because they don't like, well, I don't have a phone number. I mean, it's the same problems I had, just not knowing how to reach people. I had to do a lot of digging to even get to where I got for our invite list. I mean, look at how many times did we confirm with the information we have access to, and still some of it wasn't correct. So I really want to do that, because I think it makes it easier for folks, you know, to get to know each other. And it's just to them, it's not to the whole city, it's just that group. And the people that really want to be part of it, that's the way I look at it. But that'll be a project we'll really work on next
Yeah.
year. The next thing is the closet clean out. This is huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
What does that mean?
This, they want us to go through this.
Oh, our
Lynn-
inventory.
Our inventory, Lynn and Christina mentioned this to us, and this is a lot of really cool stuff in here. And I feel like this is another workshop day
Oh, yeah.
where we get volunteers to come help us. We need some direction from Vichy. We want you there, of course. And know, how do we go about organizing this and doing something with it? And, you know, it can stay here, but we need to go through it and know what's in there.
I think ultimately, though, having it behind closed is not the objective.
Yeah,
And you know, you have behind closed doors.
right,
I think the objective is to have some place that we can display it.
yeah,
And display some of the things that are our heritage. And perhaps, you know, making like big glass or plastic, excuse me, plastic glass, like boxes,
mm-hmm,
like the size of those pictures right there, with some of these things displayed in it.
Well, you saw
and-
how Vichy had everything in these big books.
Right.
And they were all dated, and, you know, I think that just, because she probably was very involved in the beginnings of that setup down there over in Green Cove. So
And
having her,
I saw it before.
you did, so you knew,
Oh, my.
yes. You said it was a hot mess.
It was, the whole thing
Yeah.
was just nothing but boxes,
Yeah.
and he really wouldn't let you touch it. And it was
Yeah.
just, I mean, it was,
So
there was
was
no
it-
organization.
So it wasn't useful, I mean, you can't touch it,
No,
right?
you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you, and he just was overwhelmed. He had his own little
Yeah.
points of research, and
Yeah.
it was a useless trip, really.
Yeah.
But he was looking for volunteers. I'm glad he found one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she just, it's remarkable what she's done, and
It's-
she's
it's
so,
beautiful.
she's just so gracious. I mean, she
Mhm.
wants to really help you, and, you know, she's asked me to share my spreadsheet with her of the addresses and all. So to take it a step further, it's right here somewhere, Steve left.
Well, I was in on the gathering the initial amount of material, so I have some idea of what was in this, and it's a lot of, we have partial building permits in the books and
Oh, wow.
things like that, so there's, I mean,
There's
there's
a
a lot
lot.
of, there are records, but they're incomplete records.
Oh, okay,
They
yeah,
only kept part of them.
Yeah.
I think boxes, you know, got
Yeah.
thrown out along the way.
yeah,
So there's some very interesting things, but it's not complete at all.
yeah.
And there
So-
was stuff over at the airport hangar, remember,
Yeah.
in trailers, literally trailers filled to the ceiling
Wow,
worth of stuff.
wow,
And like any old things that, you know, had just been thrown in there,
yeah,
you had really nice pieces with junk.
yeah,
So it's important to kind of go through and figure out what is really not important and
Mhm.
should be tossed,
Mhm.
and make way for the things that really have historic influence and historic.
We have to come up with a way to store those, archive those, like I said, the original building permits and things like this. This is gonna be in book form, and you're not gonna
Right.
be able to display it, really.
Right,
And you
right.
can't handle it.
you can't,
Right.
yeah, you can't touch it,
Right.
right.
There's
So
a
like I said,
lot.
I think that, I mean, unless you think you can guide us through it, do we need to have Visha here, do you think? Since you kind of been firsthand to see some
She
of
would
that?
probably have, some of the latest techniques for preservation.
Yeah,
I haven't been involved in the preservation in the last 15 years, and there have been a lot of things with digitizing records
Yeah.
and things like that,
Right.
that I'm not familiar with, so
Right.
yeah, she would.
okay. Well, at least you can give us some ideas. I'm sure
Yeah.
ours would be on a much smaller scale
But
than what
she-
she deals with,
But
but,
she did a great job with that, this is nothing.
oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, this is nothing compared to, like, it's so,
Yeah.
it's so big what they
Yeah.
have there. So, yeah, I think it'll be something we could look at doing, say, you know, within first couple months, early next year,
We
when
could
things are kind of calm
possibly
and quiet.
digitize part of this, you know, some of the more interesting things, and then it's, there might be a place with the county that we could place the originals,
Yeah,
so we wouldn't have to store them here.
right.
Right.
We'll have to just see kind of what our options might be there,
Yeah.
but, and see what her input is. Cool. But to add on to that, I meant to mention this when we were talking about our workshop. Steve had, this is too big to email to me. This is from that survey that was done several years ago,
Uh-huh.
where I captured most of the information that I started with on categorizing the houses, with the architecture, the year built and all that, and the owners, original owners. But this is like 10 times deeper. Like there's photographs, there's all kinds of stuff that was not in the printout that was provided.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna look at this. He said, you're gonna dive in to see what's all on here.
Anyway.
So he said this has tons of stuff on everybody's homes that, you know, a lot of people haven't seen before.
Wow, neat.
I know, I can't wait to see it. He was gonna email me, he said it's a huge file. I said, no, don't do that. Let's just send it to me like this and let me kind of look at it.
Is
Kinda
it
like-
on a thumb drive?
It's on a thumb drive, yeah.
And that's probably the original that we worked with.
Oh, okay.
Our original database.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be anxious to kind of see, because all I had was a printout that showed the CL number, is that right? Something, he said it's got all the numbers associated with the state, or it's something, is it a CL number? It's some kind of special number that's off to the far right. It says the year, the original owner, the architecture, and it has some kind of a number that's attached to it, the state. And he says using the state records. I don't know, I can't remember the nomenclature of it, the
Right.
number.
Well, we're lucky, if you can do Excel, because Phil put together
I bet you
all
I
of my
have it.
information on spreadsheets and things.
Yeah.
And that was in the original
No,
also. No,
it's-
he was really good at that.
I'm not.
I thought I
And
had
so
it,
it'll-
but I don't. Okay. I thought I had it, but I don't.
But
I don't have it with me today, my reference. I know you gotta go. Okay, well, I think we had a lot done today, and we're gonna go ahead and adjourn. Oh, our next meeting is gonna be November 15th at 10, and at that meeting, our goal is to arrive and have our group here and do, vote on our minutes from this meeting, and then go to the pavilion for the day to make the wreaths. Okay, well, good?
Yep.
All right.
Good.
Meeting